Hey, it's guys, Tuck here, and I'm bringing you another combat beta video today, trying to explain to you why I think prices are crashing with next armours and divines and such. Now, I think the majority of it is purely people panic selling because they've still not yet fully understood how the combat beta works. So as you can see on screen now, I've got the new full Bandos setup with the new Bandos gloves and the Bandos helm. Okay, now as you know, all armours now give a life point bonus. So the full Bandos gear gives a life point bonus of 6,412. Okay, but for the purpose of the video, we'll just call it 6,400 because it's easier. And an armour bonus of 2,350. Okay, you see here, it's set 25 base rates for melee, mage and range. So you know it's got equal defensive bonuses there. Now the thing about Bandos is, before it had no life point bonus, which I think is why Bandos is rising now that it does. But the thing is, all armours now have a life point bonus. It's not specific to any armour. And I think that's what people got around their neck. They're thinking, oh my god, Bandos has a life point, why buy next? Well, as you see, you get 6,400 life points from full Bandos. Now with the new full Torva setup, with its new boots and gloves, you get 7,200. Okay. So let's show you again. You get 6,400 from Bandos and 7,200 from Nex. That's an additional 800 life points. Now, to me, I can't see what the big deal is. Nex still provides the largest life point boost in the game by 800 life points. Now, to me, that is a lot of life points. So all it is people panic selling. Same as the armours, you can see here, look, it clearly gives better defense than what Bandos does. And also down here, look, you also get an additional 3% range reduction. So I don't see why people are selling. It is purely just people are panicking and don't know what they're doing. Another thing I've also noticed is that, as you know, Torva degrades the helm, the plate and the legs. However, the new gloves and boots appear to be non-degradable at this point in the beta. Now there is every possibility, and my thought is it more than likely will become degradable boots and gloves. However, if they don't and they stay non-degradable versions, the boots and gloves will be extremely expensive in my opinion, because although the gloves are not the best, they are now second best, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I remove my full Torva, you can see here, the gloves alone give an additional 240 life points, give 240 defensive bonus, and give 360 life point bonus for Torva gloves. Now the previous best in the game, well, should I say the previous best non-degradable gloves, because remember these are non-degradable at present, is Barrow's gloves, which you can now see give 204 and 306. Okay, so there's quite a big difference between the Barrow's gloves and the Torva. Now, because there's no new strength bonus as such, it's purely based on defense and life points. Because now all your weapon strength comes from weapons and not armor, which could be another reason why Torva seems to be crashing. Because before it was a really high strength bonus gear, and now it's purely based on life points and defense. There's no strength to be gained from weapons. But as you see there, look, Torva gloves are better than Barrow's gloves. However, when you compare them to the Goliath gloves, so remember, you've got armour on the Torva, you've got armour 240, life points 360. Now, on Goliath gloves, you've got armour 240, life points 364. Show you that again. So you see, although Torvas are not the best, there are only 4 life points behind Torva. And if Torva are non-degradable, then they might as well be just as good as Goliath gloves. So I can see Torva gloves being extremely expensive in the game if they are non-degradable. But that's enough about the gloves. I'll now show you again with the Pernix set. So you see the Pernix set has slightly different stats to Torva. As you see, it only gives 7177, whereas Torva gives at 7,200. So it's slightly behind Torva in life point boost. It's also slightly behind in the armour, 2622 compared to the 2640. Now I don't know if this is correct or not. I would have thought they'd all be the same, but again they're slightly different. Also, you can see here the full permanent set only gives a plus 2% magic reduction, whereas a Torva gives a plus 3% range reduction, which I know we're trying to balance the combat triangle. To me that is not balanced, because that means Torva is better against range and Pernix is against mage. But anyway, again, I want to remove the Pernix boots because the new armoured equipment as of now doesn't have a boot. I assume it's because there are things like ranger boots and rage fire boots and things already out for mage, for range. Sorry. So the full Pernix set, which is also now crashing really hard, has total armour of, we'll call it 2,380, and a life point boost of 6,800. Now the full armour gives you 2,112 and a life point of 6,000. So again, I can't see why Pernix is crashing so hard. You can also see here you do not get your plus 2% mage reduction either. So I don't understand it. It is literally just people panic selling because they do not yet understand what this means. Yes, all armours now carry a life point boost, which used to be unique to Nex armours. However, Nex armours still have a huge advantage both in defensive and life point boost over other armours in the game. So although the life point boost has been applied to all armours, it has still been accounted for on Nex by giving it the highest in the game. Now the other thing that I want to point out, which on my point is a fail by Jagex, is the fact that Dragon Claws are now one-handed. As you can see, it's now called a Dragon Claw, although the icon still shows two, and clearly you've only got one on each side. There's an offhand version to this, although you have to TD for it, I believe, because it's not available free from the beta guys. So in me that's a fail. That needs to be changed into a single Dragon Claw icon. The other thing is Godswords. So as you see here, the Bandos Godswords, which is the cheapest Godsword in the game, has a damage of 877 and a hit bonus of 750. Okay, and it is a slashing type of sword. Now, if we go into the Armour Godsword, which was previously the most expensive because of the way its special attack worked, you can see it is exactly the same, which means that now all Godswords are equal. Despite being slightly bigger and smaller, as you can see here, Saurodomin is the biggest Godsword, and I believe AGS is one of the smallest, with having a really short hilt and shorter blade. But they are now all completely equal. They are all slashing and they all have exactly the same stats, which means that now Godswords should be on a level playing field. So what I would expect is for a Bandos Godsword to rise and obviously AGS to crash as it is doing at the minute, which to me is perfectly acceptable. Because it's crashing because it's got to be level with the Bandos, the Saurodomin and the Zamorak. If they are all equal stats, they should all be equal prices. Which again, I think Jagex should have sort of like, maybe accounted for it in the way the damage was calculated. Like Armour Godsword could have had, for example, an extra 50 hit bonus because it was previously the best special attack, and Bandos Godsword should have been slightly less, and so on through the ranks. The other thing they've also added obviously is the new shields. So they've got the Bandos Kite Shield, which is here with an armour of 1,800 and a life points of 1,687, and then the Armadillo Shield as well, which is identical in stats. Okay, now I find it's quite funny because the Bandos and Armour have always been in the game as separate, but yeah, that's just how they've worked it, that's what it is. The shields are really good, and I really like the look of them. The other thing that I would like to mention today is Spirit Shields. As everyone knows, they are crashing extremely hard at the minute, but there is a good reason for this. The reason that they are all crashing is because Mod PI has confirmed in a forum post that whereas previously the Divine negated 30% of all attacks, any attack ever it would negate 30% of, with a slight reduction on your prayer points. Okay, because prayer now has been given probably the biggest overhaul of all, whereas it now does not affect combat. There is no prayer bonus on any armours, so things like Initiate and Proselyte and Monk's Robes and so on are pretty much all redundant now, because you might as well just wear the myth counterpart. So prayer drain now is extremely fast. So the divine has been altered slightly, and it now only gives a 30% reduction to melee. So if you get ranged in a divine, you are getting no additional benefits from it being a divine, which is why it's crashing so hard. Obviously the other thing that's worth noting is that now the Elysian has now been given a 30% damage reduction to range, and range only, whereas before I believe it was, what was it, a 30% chance to negate 70% of damage or something like that. So it was like a random chance to, you know, reduce the damage you take. Well, that's also now been removed, and now it's just a set 30% reduction to range. So again, if you're getting melee'd in an ally, you're at no additional benefit. However, the Arcane has been beefed up and now provides a 30% mage reduction. Whereas before it used to give a mage bonus, it now gives a mage reduction, which for things like, you know, magical bosses is a huge advantage. Okay. The only thing they haven't said yet is the spectral. Now there's rumours going around that, seeing as how all the others give 30% bonus to either mage, melee or range, then the spectral, being the lowest, is either going to give a 10% bonus over all three, making it, you know, the only all-round shield left, or it's just going to be, you know, forgot about and kind of dumped, and it's just going to crash so hard because it will just be, you know, basically a beefed up spirit shield. Now obviously that's only a rumour, but the divine, Elysian and Arcane have all been confirmed. It will only give 30% reduction in one type, which now means that the chaotic kite shield is currently the best shield in game. So we'll see how that pans out. I do think they will change that. I don't think they have much choice. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know why certain items are crashing. And I hope this video explained a bit to those of you who aren't able to get onto the combat beta. I hope now you can understand a bit more about the life points, the armours, and obviously then the fact that the damage and hit bonus of weapons has been calculated on stats and not special abilities. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.